Alright, welcome back to my channel. I hope you all are doing well, and today I'm going to be talking about why the Nets are the biggest chokers of all time. But before I get into any of that, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. That's right, the Nets lost to the Bucks in Game 7 last night. I still can't believe it. I mean, before the playoffs even started, I predicted the Nets to win the championship, but they couldn't even get past the Eastern Conference semifinals. Let's take it back to summer 2019. The Raptors just won the championship, there was no COVID, life was good, but more importantly, the big name free agents were available to sign, like Kawhi, Durant, Kyrie, Jimmy Butler, and many more. The whole league was changing. AD got traded to the Lakers, Kawhi left the Raptors to go to the Clippers. All Knicks fans were praying every day for them to sign KD and Kyrie, but they let them down and signed with the Nets. But hey, at least the Knicks got Julius Randle, which at the time was a bad signing, but now it turns out to be a very good signing. But back to what I was saying. The Nets got KD and Kyrie. These two were two of the best players in the world, and the Nets got them. Nets also already had a good foundation as they made the playoffs and took the Sixers to 6 games. But unfortunately, KD had an Achilles injury, which happened in the NBA Finals, which would keep him out for the next season. So really, the Nets really only had Kyrie for the upcoming season, and even he got injured mid-season. The Nets still made the playoffs as a 7th seed, but got swept by the Raptors. No Nets fans was mad though, because then they knew the next season KD and Kyrie would be healthy, so they would do good, but no one expected this to happen. The 2020 to 2021 season started, and the Nets were not seen as a super team, but they were seen as a great team with a superstar duo leading them. You see, to become a super team, you needed a third superstar, and the Nets didn't have that. But that all ended when James Harden wanted to leave the Rockets and join the Nets. The trade was made. The trio was seen as some of the greatest trio of all time. 2 former MVPs and a superstar point guard. I mean, who could challenge them? But the Nets thought a big 3 was not enough, so they went ahead and signed Blake Griffin, which was seen as a bad signing because he was not the Blake Griffin that he used to be. But I guess when Blake is on a good team, he turns into a great player again. But then that still wasn't enough, and the Nets signed LaMarcus Aldridge, but that actually really didn't amount to anything because LaMarcus Aldridge ended up retiring later on that season, so that doesn't really matter, but still, it could tell how much they wanted to win a ring. Now, the Nets have a big 4 with Kyrie, KD, Harden, and Blake, but these 4 rarely played together due to some players having injuries or some players needing load management. The chemistry didn't look good, but people still thought the Nets would do good in the playoffs and probably win a chip. The playoffs begin and the Nets faced the Celtics in the first round. Now this Celtics team was terrible. I mean, it was really bad. And the Nets took advantage of that by beating them in 5. They then faced the Bucks in the Eastern Conference semifinals. And in the previous years, the Bucks lost to the Raptors in the Eastern Conference Finals, and in the previous year, they got beaten by the Heat in the Eastern Conference semifinals. The Bucks made some changes though by signing Drew Holiday and PJ Tucker, but the Nets were still the favorites to win. The first 2 games were played and the Nets went up 2-0. The Nets were hurt though, with Harden being injured for the rest of the series until Game 5. The Bucks went on to win the next 2 games, tying the series to make it 2-2. But the Nets were hurt again by Kyrie rolling his ankle badly in Game 4, and he would be out for the rest of the series. James Harden came back in Game 5, but you could tell he wasn't completely ready to come back because he played awful, only scoring 4 points. But Durant carried them to victory with 49 points, giving the Nets a 3-2 lead in the series. Then Game 6 happens, and everyone expected the Nets to close out the series, but the Bucks pulled through by winning the game and tying the series 3-3. So now it's Game 7. The stage is set. It was a close game all the way, and in the 4th quarter, KD hit a clutch fadeaway to force the game into overtime. Overtime happens and the Bucks get a 2-point lead with the Nets having 11 seconds to score and tie the game or take the lead in the game. But KD's fadeaway didn't hit this time, and the Bucks won the game and the series. The supposed greatest super team of all time lost to a team who have never touched the finals since 1974, and a team who has one main superstar. I really don't understand how this happened. I don't want to hear anyone say, oh, well, Kyrie was injured, Screw that shit. The Nets had Harden and KD. If that's not enough, then your team just sucks. And that's not the case, because the Nets had a great bench, but they did not show up in Game 7. There could have also been a lack of chemistry. As I said before, the Nets barely played together during the regular season due to injuries and load management. Well, that's the end of today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, make sure to like, comment down below your opinions, and subscribe if you're liking the content. Peace!